Folks, welcome to episode 32 of Everything Pro Wrestling. And today we are talking WWE Battleground. We have previews and predictions with Casey Briggs.
Hi, people.
What a polite guy. Folks, real quick, if you're new to the channel or first time seeing my videos, hit the subscribe button if you like it at the end. You can wait. Also, make sure you leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you got something that you want to disagree with, I like to debate a little bit or hear reasoning, so put it in the comment section below. Guys, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into this. We are talking WWE Battleground. It has been a anticipated pay-per-view for many people for several different reasons. We're going to get into that when we preview the show. But first, let's talk about what happened this week in wrestling. We just had new logos released for Raw and SmackDown. Yeah, I'm getting some bad reaction from this from most people. I have not seen anything good said.
To be honest, dude, like I actually, with a couple little tweaks, I actually wouldn't mind these new logos. I don't like the W in Raw. It looks like an upside down M. So I'm thinking like Ram. Like what? Like
yeah. And for the record, I don't want any smart comments below saying all W's are upside down M's, because I saw that argument going on. I was like, oh man, this is getting real bad.
Anyone who says that is idiotic. I'm saying that right now. My older brother is a graphic designer, dude. So like I listen to him run off at the mouth about all sorts of different like fonts and whatnot when we're out and about hanging out, like when we're watching sports, when teams come up with new jerseys, stuff like that. That's one of the first things my brother always comments on is stuff like that. So I've started to notice stuff like that. And not every W looks like an upside down M. Like, yes, it could work like that. Like most W's could work as an M if you flipped it upside down. But like it shouldn't be the only thing. Like that's the only thing I think of when I look at that. When I looked at that new Raw logo, is that's not a W. That is an upside down M. It's a stupid font that they chose. Whatever. And then the SmackDown one. I actually would love the SmackDown one if they would just do one thing. Get rid of the live. Get rid of live. It's not SmackDown. Like, what is this? What is this? I'm not going to see like Disney on Ice. It's not something different. It's still SmackDown. I'm still going. Whenever I bought tickets and went and saw SmackDown, I saw it on a Tuesday night. Everything's still the same, except it's just live now. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
Buzzword friendly for corporations is why they're doing that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, CJ, because my brain doesn't go back that far. When Raw went live, did they do that with Monday Night Raw?
No.
Like it wasn't like Raw live for forever, right? Like for a long time.
No, like I said, I think it's just other people in the mix of Vince McMahon's world, and they're like, "Oh, it's live, so we'll call it live. It's a buzzword. It's really cool. Everyone."
They overdo it. It's just the latest in a long line of WWE latching on to some word or something or some idea and overplaying it, overusing it. They did it with recently with Roman Reigns, being the guy, in whatever.
Right. It was cool once, and then they overdo it. I mean, it's like a bad dad joke that it was funny once, and then they keep repeating it over and over. And it's just like, all right, let it go.
Yeah, like we get it. SmackDown's live now. Cool. We don't need it like plastered. It's not a different show just because it's live. It's still just SmackDown.
All right, so it's good that we're in agreement that the logos aren't bad. Fix the W on the Raw, or even add a You see how this shirt is? How it has like the red line top and then bottom. Add that maybe to it and fix the W, and I think that one will look fine. And like you said with SmackDown, just get rid of the live because it's kind of annoying to keep putting that in there. So all fine and dandy. But Casey, let's talk about the draft real quick. That was what the big week in discussion was for everybody. Oh, what's going to happen? And for the record, me, Casey, and James Farley in the Everything Pro Wrestling group, which is located on Facebook, link will be in the description below, said that this was a bad idea, and everyone was disagreeing with us for the most part. And now that it has come, I hear a lot of crying. And I'm not to be the guy that said I told you so, but I
I
won't
told
say.
you so.
Right. I
We
won't say
told you so.
it was a bad idea. Casey, let me get your thoughts on the overall draft because we've discussed it privately, but
It like I've mentioned to you in private, ever since Shane came back during WrestleMania season, and ever since he's come back, his whole shtick has been about trying to get control and running off at the mouth about how once he had control, it was going to be all about listening to the fans. It's going to be a show about putting the fans first, not corporate first. That was like his whole spiel that he's been running off at the mouth about ever since he's come back. And then what's he do with his third and fourth pick? I believe they were 3 and 4. Cena and Orton, like all the air, like got taken out of the draft when the show that is supposed to be for the people and everyone was excited for is like they drafted Cena and Orton. I told you because Raw got an extra pick every round, Raw should have been using that extra pick every round to pick up those types of guys. They have the bigger roster. They have the longer show, the bigger roster. So they have like they have the room for those guys. Now SmackDown, which is only 2 hours, has a smaller roster. 2 precious prime spots were taken up by 2 dudes that have overstayed their welcome, quite frankly. And then later on they drafted Kane as well. Like I just dude, I did and then like I mean, I mentioned it to you. Actually, looking at the roster that SmackDown got, I think most of us that are pissed off about it, I mentioned it to you, dude. Like, if you change those 2 out and take Cesaro and Kevin Owens, and put those instead of Cena and Orton, the roster actually now doesn't look that bad. Because then you've got Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, like Baron Corbin. Like you have a lot of good young guys that some of them are new, some of them haven't been used properly for as long as they've been on the roster. You also have Breeze and Fandango. You got Dolph Ziggler. You got plenty of guys there that are talented that a lot of them haven't been used properly, and the ones that have been used properly are massively over, like AJ Styles. It could have been an awesome show. It could have been, as like I said to you, and the NXT type of show for the main roster is what I think SmackDown should have been. That's what I would have been, pitching in the creative meetings.
To say something different than you did, I feel like Shane McMahon has been sabotaged a little bit. Like him and Daniel Bryan got sabotaged by whoever creatively put this together to say everything that Shane said that's cool, we're going to give to Stephanie and Triple H on Raw or whatever, and Foley. And I feel like they made them look better. And that sounds really bad to say, but I feel like Raw has way more star power right now. They're talking about they're going to have the cruiserweights. Okay, well, you have almost every other belt, too. You have the U.S., the tag, the women's. You've got it all on Monday Night Raw right now. And SmackDown has the WWE title and the Intercontinental. And there's a lot of people advocating for 2 belts. And I'm probably on the rare, I don't know, craving of wanting 2 belts. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Like, I feel that you should just use the titles you have now and put them back and forth on both shows. And if you want to introduce a cruiserweight belt, let's see if you can make these belts mean something first before you do that, and give them each maybe a mid-card title to say that's your brand-specific title, that's your brand-specific title. Let's work on building those up, and then those belts can travel back and forth. And for the purpose of when ratings are low, you could throw the belt on a Dean Ambrose, a Seth Rollins, or a Roman Reigns and say, hey, I know you're supposed to be on Raw and you're feuding with a Raw guy. I need you to go to SmackDown tonight to get the ratings up a little bit or to surprise the people. Cool. I like that. That's very awesome for them to do something like that. It's not hard to boost a show. You just have to be creative and think about everything you're doing. And supposedly we're getting 2 creative teams from now on for Raw and SmackDown. I hope that they're really creative and they're different. I don't want Vince sabotaging SmackDown like he used to. I don't want to see guys not getting pushed or, okay, next draft shuffle, Raw gets everybody and SmackDown you get Fit Finley and Bobby Lashley. Sorry, I'm out. We'll push Lashley. Finley's the veteran. See ya. And then we only focus on Raw because they have the 3 hours and they're making more money than anything else. So personally, to end this draft, wasn't that good. I wasn't impressed. They started off okay, and then, like you said, as soon as you heard the Cena Randy Orton, the air got sucked right out of you. And then after that, I was like, oh, SmackDown's getting annihilated. Why would you pick this guy here? Oh, that was bad. Why are Zayn and Owens on the same roster? Oh, no. And then the supplemental draft, I do feel that SmackDown did better. And also for people saying that they drafted Eva Marie from NXT, she was listed on the Raw roster. That's another complaint I'm seeing a lot of. And I'm like, she was already on the main roster. So.
And speaking of the NXT picks, so something that has been brought up is like just obviously outside of the kayfabe of the business, like the real business of it. Obviously, they weren't gonna poach like all of the top people from NXT. You know, they weren't gonna. They took Finn, but obviously they weren't gonna take Finn and Shinsuke and Aries and Samoa Joe. So just for the kayfabe of the show, you mentioned it to me when we talked about it afterwards. Like they should have come up with some like some. I was just say believable, but I mean any reason for why they weren't picking those people, because in the fake storyline of that the show exists in, like if you're picking from NXT, who the hell is really going to take Alexa Bliss and Mojo Rawley over Shinsuke or Samoa Joe or Austin Aries? You know what I mean? Like, so there should have been some storyline reason why those guys were off limits, because it made no sense after Finn Balor and American Alpha that these other yahoos from NXT were being taken over the top guys at NXT.
Yeah, I won't get into it too deep, but basically the main thing I said was maybe you say Triple H has picked 7 protected guys that he says, I will not lose these guys from this draft. They are not in the building at NXT because they know they're staying on NXT. And then you can sit there and you could have the Blake, Murphy, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, and all them sitting there because then they're like, well, I don't know what my future is. I wouldn't have even said how many NXT picks there would be. I would just say several people from NXT could be called up, be on the lookout, and that way nobody knows what's going to happen and it's not forced, But like I said, draft sucked in our opinion. So let's see if we can make something right here with our preview and predictions and try and rewrite this a little bit. Using the iPad here, so if I'm looking away, that's what I'm doing. We got Becky Lynch versus Natalya for first matchup here for Battleground. What are you thinking for this right here, Casey? Is this a kickoff show match, you think, or are they going to leave Randy Orton and Lesnar on the kickoff? Or not Randy? I'm sorry, Randy Orton and Jericho segment talking about Brock Lesnar, basically.
It should be on that. Like their talk segment should be on the kickoff, but I don't know, because we have another women's match come, on the card as well, which is actually. It's not for the title. It's just a women's tag match.
Correct.
Dana and Charlotte versus Sasha and mystery opponent.
Yeah. What do you think of this rivalry with Becky Lynch and Natalya? At the draft show, they did try and further it with a big attack, and
it's been okay. It's been enjoyable. I don't necessarily know if Natalya is the best heel. I love Natalya, respect the hell out of her, but even as a face, I don't necessarily think she's the greatest on the microphone. Great in-ring skill, not very good on the mic, so I don't necessarily buy her as a heel when she's talking, but whatever, just let them wrestle. They're going to put on a good match. Becky Lynch is going to come out on top.
Yeah, actually, I got to reverse. I think that we see Natalya win right now. I think with her new, she's been calling herself the Queen of Hearts, similar to what Owen Hart was doing before. I see Natalya picking up the win. She needs this victory to establish her as a heel, I feel. And to be honest, this is a lose-lose situation I talk about when booking. Becky Lynch needs a victory very badly, but so does Natalya. So now it's a pick and choose who's going to win kind of deal.
And
I say you give the win to Natalya and keep this feud going because there's no way that this ends with how the rosters are split anyway.
speaking of Becky though, like in the draft and whatnot, like and the titles. So the women's titles over on Raw, like poor Becky Lynch, like always the bridesmaid, you know,
Yeah.
never the bride. Like, and it's just the ultimate. Like, yeah, she's gonna be the face of the women's division on SmackDown, which is cool, but unless they create another women's title, which I don't want them to do. But you know what I mean? Like, it's
I
just
see the champions going back and forth though, like you said. I mean,
I would like them to, but they got drafted to their shows, so.
Right, and we'll see what they do. I mean, there's still lots of time to learn exactly what they want to do and what they're going to do. So, with that, actually, you know what? Let's get into real quick the basically Chris Jericho is hosting the highlight reel with Randy Orton. Casey, what are your expectations as far as that segment goes? What are you expecting to see from Orton? We know he's probably going to RKO Jericho, but Heyman's not in right now. Everyone's hearing that his contract's expired. He's doing a lot of other stuff. And getting other people to sign to Evolve. And
I would hope that like behind the scenes WWE's done that before. You know, you hear one thing, and then when the show happens, something else entirely different happens. So I don't know how they would sell this match going into SummerSlam without Paul Heyman there to be the mouthpiece. So I would hope that behind the scenes they actually figure something out for him to keep him on. And yeah, I mean, otherwise it's going to be pretty boring. As far as the highlight reel segment at Battleground this Sunday, I hope they let Orton call out Brock just like they did Seth Rollins with Roman. You know, let Randy Orton call Brock out for his testing positive and stuff. And
yeah, bring the real life factors into it. And I've always said Randy Orton needs to be more of a Stone Cold type of character. I don't think he should be a face or a heel. Randy Orton will RKO you just because. You don't know why, you don't know when, and he'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. I think that's the character he needs to portray right now to make him a credible person on SmackDown. Because I don't want him getting back to that 2011 mode where I don't care, Randy, when you come out. I really don't care. Like, whatever. Do your normal match that you always do, and then go.
I'm afraid that he's going to suffer a bit from we're going to go through a bit of the same thing we went through with Del Rio when Del Rio came back. Like, there was a hot second there when Del Rio was cool. Like, holy crap, he came back, he beat John Cena. Like, holy crap, awesome. And then, like, real quick, we're like, oh wait, it's Alberto Del Rio. Never mind. And like, I feel like Orton might fall victim to that. Like, oh wow, because he's been gone for months and months and months. So oh wow, Orton's back, cool. Oh wait, it's still the same dude that we've had since 2002. Like, no thanks, go away,
bro. Next match we got The Miz versus Darren Young for the Intercontinental Championship. We've seen a lot of vignettes with Darren Young and Bob Backlund going back and forth. It took them forever to get to the point, and he wins a fluke #1 contender battle royal where the two guys eliminate themselves at the end. I can't remember. I think it was Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, if I'm not mistaken. Eliminate themselves, and he's just left in the ring. So that looks fluky. And Miz has not really been around since the Fatal 4-Way with Owens, Zayn, and Cesaro. We don't really know what Miz has been up to. So this match has got me kind of But I will say that Darren Young, I thought it was really cool that he started using the crossface chicken wing, and then we all were waiting for it. But as soon as Backlund started screaming and doing the hand gesture for it, I marked out a little bit for it. I was like, yes, a move we haven't seen in a long time. And the people pop for it. So I'm wondering if Vince heard that pop and if that's something that he thinks can make some money for him.
Again, though, I like to bring up, similar situations, similar references from the past. The dude he's wrestling this Sunday had a very similar situation a few years ago when Ric Flair, kind of was passed the torch to the Miz with the figure four. And the first time the Miz locked in the figure four on someone, we were like, oh yeah, whoa. And then, so I'm, it kind of fizzled out. I still love the Miz. I do. He's a great heel. But yeah, Darren Young will get, a pop. He'll be cool for a hot second, but I just don't think he has the personality to carry it. I still think he's going to win this Sunday. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be. Yeah, absolutely. You can't build off of the. How long have these vignettes been running? Make Darren Young great again. And then all of a sudden, finally, the last couple of weeks, he's finally, in the ring wrestling. And like I said, like you just said, last week he finally latched on the crossface chicken wing. So it's to me, it's just the natural build to yes, he's gonna win the Intercontinental title this Sunday at Battleground, but I don't see him, sustaining the popularity. So so to speak. He'll be the champ for a little bit and then he'll fizzle out.
I'm going to go opposite of you. I'm going to go with the Miz getting the victory here. I think Miz will find a slimy way to hold on to the belt. I don't think Maurice is going to jump up on the apron and distract Darren Young, but I think Miz still winds up picking up the victory by some slimy, heelish way. I don't know, hitting him with the belt, something. Something's got to give. I don't see Raw picking up the Intercontinental title from this. Is my main thing.
Oh, dude.
At least you got it. So we get to our next match, which is, as I swear to you, it's the exact same situation. It's Rusev versus Zack Ryder. This one I'm more invested in this one only because I cheered for Zack Ryder when he started his YouTube show and when I wanted to see him beat Dolph Ziggler and everything, and then they just yanked the rug from under this dude. And it seems like they like him. They're like, yeah, he put in all this work, man. Let's push him a little bit. This guy definitely busted himself to get to this level. Let's give him something. But you got Rusev, too, who's been doing great as a kayfabe heel. Rusev's just one of the best. Makes me laugh all the time. I don't know about this one, man. This one's going to be tough. Who do you got taking it?
Well, because I hit Darren Young to take the IC title to Raw, I'm going to take Zack Ryder to bring the U.S. title to SmackDown.
Now, are you saying this just to see a shakeup for both shows? Anything can happen in the WWE, so now the belts have switched. Oh.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I still don't see it, man. I think that I'm going to go with Rusev on this one, too. I think that they have Rusev get the victory, and you can continue this feud or do whatever you like via, have them flip-flop then, and maybe Darren Young faces Rusev and then Miz versus Ryder, which would make more sense, I feel, as a feud because Miz took the belt from Zack Ryder after WrestleMania. But I definitely just see Rusev picking up the victory in just a kind of a nonchalant match just to prove his dominance. Our next match is Sasha Banks and a mystery partner versus Charlotte and Dana.
Real quick on the Zack Ryder match, do you see his boy Mojo playing a factor at all? Maybe, possibly.
I would say more so costing him the match.
Maybe, okay.
I personally real quick, long term, what I see Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley teaming up and eventually getting so frustrated at losses from Breezango, the Ascension, that eventually Zack Ryder's like, you know what, I don't need you, bro. And then basically he finally goes back to being a heel. That's what I visualize happening from it. I think he's going to get that character along for what he wants to do now.
See, I feel like I totally agree with doing that storyline. But I mean, I said that the night after, or like the night of WrestleMania or something, didn't I? Where when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental title, I said they should have done that then, and like they could have run the storyline while Mojo was still down in NXT, like, you know, had the tag match that down at an NXT tag match where Zack Ryder doesn't show up because Ito's getting too big for him because he's too busy being the champ up on the main roster, and that's how you could have brought Mojo in. Now here we are months later, much less creative way of bringing Mojo Rawley in, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you could. I see them like eventually splitting up and feuding, but I don't know if you could do that yet. Like again, there's still a way to do that. Like my type of, you know, a version of my storyline, except they're both on the same roster now, and Zack Ryder becomes the champ with Mojo's help, but then because Zack Ryder's the champ, like again, letting it go to his head, he kind of thinks he's better than Mojo. He's been up on the main roster for a while, like screw you, Mojo, I'm better than you, and eventually it drives a crack down the middle and they split.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening with both of them. Time will tell if WWE does it. As you said, they've taken way worse booking approaches than what we suggest. We have Sasha Banks and a mystery partner versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke. This has been months and months of build-up, probably since February, March time with Sasha and Charlotte. And we all knew. I'm sorry?
Nia Jax.
Is that who you're thinking is the mystery partner?
I mean, she just got drafted to the main roster. Why? I mean, who else?
Yeah, I don't know. You could go several ways with this.
I'm just saying that's a way. It'd be a way to overcome Charlotte. I mean, overcome Charlotte and Dana's like bullcrap.
The number one answer is Bayley. Everybody wants to see Bayley come up and take this spot. Could she? Maybe. And maybe it's just a one-time deal. Like Bayley comes up and Sasha's like, "Why are you here? I didn't ask for your help." And then that can lead to the big match blow off later on whenever she does come up to the main roster. I'd be cool with that. Like, okay, well, remember I helped you and I pinned the women's champ that night for you. And then Sasha's like, "Well, I didn't ask for your help. Blah, blah, blah. I went out there and I did it on my own. I don't need you." Whatever, however you want to play it off. But this has been built up since WrestleMania. They've been kept apart for – I felt like we didn't see Sasha enough to be more invested into this, but it's going to lead to some things here. So, Casey, who do you think is the mystery partner? Is it Bayley? Is it Trish? Lita? I'm hearing Nia Jax, like you said. You got a bunch of options.
They have a bunch of options. Whoever they go with, that's who's going to win, is Sasha and her mystery partner. It's my prediction anyway. It'd be cool if you like brought in like an old school person, you know, like Trish or Lita. A one-off with Bayley, like I don't know, they haven't really shown that they've wanted, you know, up until now they haven't really shown that they're willing to do one-offs with their NXT people. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe it'll be like a little test, like, hey, like let's see the reaction Bayley gets on the main roster. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if you did it with Nia Jax, it'd be a good way to instantly like make her dominant, like in the women's division on Raw. I'm not necessarily saying like you have to immediately put her in the title picture. No, that's Sasha. You know, you could kind of do the same storyline you just pitched between Bayley and Sasha, and do it with Nia and Sasha. Like Sasha comes in as the powerhouse and like just ragdolls, you know, Dana Brooke and Charlotte, picks up the win, and then later like you have Sasha win the title at SummerSlam, and then you got, you know, a couple months down the road you got Nia Jax getting in Sasha's face about like, yo, I'm the one that came out at Battleground and saved your ass. So
yeah, I'm with you. I definitely can see. I'm taking Sasha and her mystery partner. I don't care who it is. It could be a Rock. Sasha Banks is winning this match right now. My main purpose of it was, my idea is Bayley and Sasha have this long historic feud in NXT that I think you need to play off of. So after SummerSlam, which is where I predict Sasha's going to win the belt right now, Sasha wins the belt after SummerSlam, and then her next night on the main roster, the night after SummerSlam, is going to be right in the Barclays Center again, right where NXT was that year when she fought Bayley. There's no better way to have Bayley come out and go face to face with her, and you even just tease the fact that there could be a match between them later on down the line. I wouldn't say like, oh, we're going to end her reign that fast, but I say later on down the line, Sasha and Bayley is going to happen, and it's going to knock your socks off. Boom. You just tease it right then and there. In that building, it means so much to them already because they love that match. That was match of the year, basically, to a lot of people last year.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Ooh, this next one. This is probably my favorite one to play around with creatively as far as the matches go for Battleground. We have the New Day. New Day versus the Wyatt family. New Day just passed London and Kendrick's classic all-time never defending the belt title reign. And we have the Wyatt family who have been split up in a weird way. We got Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan on SmackDown. Braun Strowman's going to Raw alone. To do what? Nobody knows. And we don't know what anyone's intentions are or how they feel about it. What do you think is going to happen in this match here? I personally, we've talked about this. I know you're a big Bray Wyatt fan. They need this victory bad. They have to establish dominance.
Absolutely, especially going into SmackDown. I've seen some rumors out there, some articles, and it is one of the few positives I mentioned to you after the draft was given how kind of weak they are at the top. I feel like if the belt stays on SmackDown, if the WWE title stays on SmackDown with Dean Ambrose, like there's AJ, and then there's Bray. You know what I mean? Like really so that's the one positive of this draft is that it gets Bray as close as he's ever been to sniffing that title picture so far in his career. And I think in order to get him to that point, yeah, he needs to win this Sunday. They better win. It's not for the titles, so
I have a creative way to pull it off. Personally, for this one, I'm taking the Wyatt family to win because it's a six-man tag. I'm assuming you're doing the same?
Yeah.
All right. Creatively, how I would pull this off is you've already established that Xavier Woods is scared. You can win in both situations in this match. What you do is you have New Day show a strong showing. Like, New Day's got to do some stuff that you're like, wow, I'm surprised New Day got out of that, kicking out of Bray's signature moves and stuff. But what's going to happen is basically Kofi, Big E, Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman can be all knocked down. You have Xavier Woods basically wind up getting like a hot tag or a blind tag when Kofi was jumping over the rope. He comes in, he's like a house of fire against Bray Wyatt. He gets all of his moves in. Basically, same thing that happened to him when he faced him one-on-one on SmackDown. He's a house of fire. He's not scared, and he's getting real close to him. And then Bray tries to scare him. He gets scared a little bit, fights back, boom, boom, boom. He goes for his finish, and Bray Wyatt looks at him, and he's got to catch him like a villain in a movie, basically, like, I got you. And then basically hit him with the Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3, dominant victory for Bray. Bray makes it seem like it was no sweat. And that should be it. That should be the end of it. And New Day looks respectable in the fact that they look strong. They took it to him. They almost had him. And he just caught Xavier off guard with a Sister Abigail. Bray looked strong in the victory. Eric Rowan seems like he could be okay by himself maybe if they do have to go that route or turning on Bray for SmackDown. And Braun Strowman, good luck with whatever you're doing on Raw. I don't think he's ready yet to be on his own, but
not even close. But I like that, dude. I like that idea. Like, you know, and
the only reason I pitched that is because New Day's got cereal coming out. Bootios. I mean, I don't know who doesn't want to try those things.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. And then after this match, like I said, like you said, like after this match, the New Day is still going to be tag champs. They can go off to Raw. Bray and Eric Rowan can go off to SmackDown, coming, you know, off a nice victory. They can do their thing. So yeah, no, I mean, that's even a way to pitch pitch their cereal. You brought up their cereal after Xavier Woods being scared cost him the match at Battleground. You'd have like a goofy segment on Raw where Kofi and Big E like sit him down and feed him some Bootios cereal to make sure he ain't booty anymore. Like,
Exactly.
so I mean, and that launches their cereal. So I did pitch
more creative than the creative team.
Jesus. I know. I also pitched something crazy to you the other night. I want to mention it. I think it'd be cool.
Right.
I think it'd be cool with Luke Harper if you make him the next JBL. Honestly, he's got a similar build to JBL. You know, as long as we've known him, he's had this crazy ass beard. You know, this crazy hair. Like, I'm not saying you have to bring him back instantly like that. Bring him back as the Luke Harper we know, but I see like something's got to change, and I feel like it'd be like of any of the Wyatt family aside from Bray, obviously. He's the one dude that can fly solo, that has the talent and skill to fly solo, and I just feel like it'd be a good way to set him up for a solo career post Wyatt family, and like distance himself, shave the beard, cut the hair, comes out in trunks. Just
the workhorse of that group.
Like, just make him all looking clean cut and stuff. Come up with some backstory. Starts calling himself Lucas Harper, and I mean, just to distance himself from the Wyatt family, so he can have a successful solo career.
You even have it where, I'm getting too deep into this, but maybe even have like a psychiatrist sit him down, like try and say, hey, we're gonna stop these feelings of you feeling like you have to be part of groups to do anything successful in your life. You can do a lot of things on your own. Tie your shoes by yourself, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you can get right into that. You can build a lot of cool segments from it and build the anticipation. That's what I miss with WWE from watching shows like Lucha Underground and different things like that. We got our next match. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, which I'm going to call right now will steal the show. I just have a feeling that these two are going to go all out, and they have the potential to do so. I kind of wish this match had a gimmick attached to it because they've fought so many other times.
Yeah.
But I'll live for now. They've been fighting since, I'd say, a little bit before Mania, since the Rumble, actually. Since NXT, let's be honest. Yeah, we can go further back than that. But this match has so much potential in on it. I actually am going to take Sami Zayn to get the big victory here. That's my prediction. I just think that you give it to Zayn. If this feud is really ending, which why are they both on the same brand? I'm going to revisit that again. Why? But do you think this feud is really ending, number one? And who do you got winning this? What do you see happening?
That's one of the things I mentioned to you when I was bitching to you about the draft. Of all these matches that are going down at Battleground, this is the one that is billed as the end of the feud. Like this is it. This is their final match. So like going into the draft, I was like, well, clearly they're going to be on different shows. Like once Raw drafted Sami Zayn, I was like, well, clearly SmackDown's going to take Kevin Owens, split them up. It makes their match at Battleground that much more special because it's at least their final match for a while. But no, I don't think that it's the end of their feud. If they're on the same show, like they hate each other.
Right.
So, I mean, unless the only way I see it being the end of the feud is if Kevin Owens somehow gets a clean victory over Sami Zayn. So I'm going to take Kevin Owens in this match. That's the only way, because if Sami Zayn wins, it's clearly not the end of the feud. Kevin Owens is going to come out the next night on Raw, and screw you, I'm better than you. Or if he gets a dirty victory over Sami Zayn will come out and be like, screw you, you screwed me, like, and they're just gonna keep it going.
You sure, man? I mean, I could see it where WWE's creative team's like, yeah, we'll have Sami get the win. Kevin will walk by him in the beginning of the first Raw segment, like, hey, Sami, hey, Kevin. End of the feud, huh? It was great last night. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I'm in the Cruiserweight Classic starting next week when we have the tournament for that on Raw.
That'd be stupid.
I just hope they don't do anything dumb like that. I definitely would have split them up though, just to balance the shows out a little bit more. That's where the mid card is where the problem is for the draft for us. If you guys haven't figured out, it's the mid card unbalancing where they took everybody. Next match: John Cena, Enzo Amore, and Big Cass versus the Club. The Club has also been split up. John Cena and AJ Styles are going to SmackDown. We got the two tag teams, Enzo and Big Cass, and Anderson and Gallows going to Raw. Whew, this is going to be a weird one. And the booking possibilities with this are also huge. You can go a lot of different ways. Casey, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
This is tough for me. This is probably the toughest one for me to like think of like what they should do creatively. I don't know. They're probably going to let the heroes triumph, which, I mean, that's going to be my prediction that I'll lock in. Cena and Enzo and Cass win.
That makes two, folks. I'm taking that as well.
Which you could play into creative since you're breaking up AJ Styles and Anderson and Gallows. Maybe you have them lose. Maybe you have AJ Styles mess up or something and like accidentally hit one of the, Anderson or Gallows. Maybe some confusion in the match, similar to how it was Enzo that hit Cena, right? Wasn't it recently? Yeah. And which Cena kicks out of like a million finishers. By the way, going back to that, Cena kicks out of a million finishers, but one punch from Enzo Amore, and he's out. Boom, done, out for the count. But maybe, like I said, like you have Finn Balor coming up to Raw, the same show with Anderson and Gallows. I know a lot of people want to see them reunite, so maybe. I know you think it might be a little too early to pull the trigger on that. I'm just saying maybe it could be a way creatively to send AJ Styles off to SmackDown to be one of the leaders of that show. Like, you just have Anderson and Gallows beat him up after the match, after he cost them the match or something, and they're like, screw this, And then Finn doesn't have to join up with those two the moment he comes to Raw. You can have it play out for a while. Like those two trying to recruit Finn back to, joining up with him.
A filthy idea just entered my head for creative booking. What if you keep Finn on Raw, AJ on SmackDown? Remember I said the belt should go back and forth? You go back and forth on both shows when you have the belt. You give these guys, Anderson and Gallows, the Club, the belts. Yeah, we're on Raw. We're with Finn. Woo, yeah, you're my boy. You're my boy. We're on SmackDown with AJ. What's up, man? You're my boy. And then when it's time for WrestleMania or whatever, whenever you want this all to come to a head, they're all on one show, and it gets kind of tense between them. Like, hey, guys, calm down. We're all friends here. And then AJ's like, well, these are my boys. Yeah, they're my boys, too. And then you kind of can play off of that. Then they have to choose, well, whose side are you on? Are you on AJ's side or are you on Finn's side? Basically playing off the whole New Japan gimmick in and of itself. But I'm just saying, WWE, you got options here, so don't be afraid to use them.
Yeah.
And we get to the main event. We got the champion Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns in a WWE Championship. Roman Reigns.
What? He's part of this?
Absolutely.
I haven't seen him in anything.
I have. Called 30-day suspension.
Yeah.
Championship triple threat match. You guys know I'm not a big fan of people who hate on Roman Reigns. It gets tiring. Should he be heel? Yes, I get it. And for the record, can I just bring this up too? Shout out to Jeff Meacham on No DQ for this idea. They should definitely be writing. Roman Reigns' suspension ended yesterday, I believe. So he's going to be on the house show on Saturday. I would say behind closed doors for Raw, Stephanie McMahon showed up to a house show. Oh, God, that would never happen. Showed up to a house show to have a meeting with Roman Reigns behind closed doors. They show Roman go into the room. You could even just to tease something's going to happen. Like, oh, what's going on with Roman going behind closed doors? Maybe Roman's going to win. And basically, maybe she's trying to say, hey, let's make sure we bring home the WWE title to Raw. So I need you two to work together. And maybe someone disobeys it a little bit. Maybe Rollins gets a little greedy and she's like, oh, we could have had it if you wouldn't have done whatever you did. And you flip-flop Rollins and Reigns. Rollins becomes the face, Roman becomes the heel. But I'm just thinking off the top of my dome here. And that idea did come from Jeff Meacham from No DQ, host of Talk Wrestling. And personally, I would have Ambrose. I'm going to go with Dean Ambrose to get the victory here. I think you keep the belt on him. And if I pick who eats the pinfall, it's Roman Reigns. He has to. You cannot give that man the belt, I feel, and expect people in your company to take you seriously.
Agreed. 100% agreed. You can't give him the belt, even if that was your original plan. Can't give him the belt. You know, he just coming off a 30-day suspension. Yeah, you can't reward a guy after that. Otherwise, you just look like a bunch of chumps. I too am picking Dean Ambrose to retain, keep the belts. Matt Fowler is the one that I saw bring this up on IGN in his weekly wrap up. Was maybe that's one of the reasons for the draft being so lopsided. You know, like the tag belts, the women's belt, the cruiserweight division, all going to be on Raw. Maybe the consolation prize is that SmackDown has the WWE Championship. And like I said, if they are going to create a new belt for Raw, or for whatever brand doesn't have the WWE title, I feel like it makes more sense to do it. Like Shane wouldn't do that, like Dean wouldn't care. I mean, he would care, obviously. His character would care if he lost the championship, but he wouldn't be the one sitting there making excuses and begging, Shane and Daniel Bryan to come up with some solution. Whereas I like that idea that you pitched, but so whether it's Roman or whether it's still Seth as the heel Monday night on Raw Live, I'm now going to start calling it Raw Live. It is it just makes more sense with Stephanie being there, and a lot of people are predicting that eventually this whole Mick Foley as the GM thing is going to come into conflict with Steph, and it'll cause Triple H to come back, and that's how Trips is going to come back. So you could even start planting the seeds for that by having Stephanie create the new championship for Seth or Roman, whichever one is in her pocket at that point, and to make them happy, and well, screw you, SmackDown, we have our own world champion too, ha ha ha. And you could have Mick Foley kind of be like, well, I don't necessarily I mean, Dean is the champ, he won, you're just giving this belt to this guy, not really okay with that, blah blah blah. So you could even right now, right off the bat, plant the seeds for them, button heads later, over bigger stuff. So like I said, it just makes more sense for the heel. And since, like I said, whether they finally pull the trigger on Roman turning heel, or whether they keep Seth as the heel, or whether they're both heels after Sunday night, whatever the case is, it makes more sense for the heels to want that new belt created to keep them happy, to as a sense of entitlement, ha ha ha, I have this, and Stephanie, it makes more sense for her to give into that than Shane, so it just, to me, makes more sense. Keep the belt on Dean. It gives you a storyline reason to, whether it's the next night on Raw or whether it's a couple weeks down the road, whatever. It just gives you a storyline reason to bring that other belt back, the other world title back. And yeah, I like your idea of turning Roman heel. He should be. And speaking of that, I mentioned it to you. Props to Booker T on the what the supplemental draft coverage on the network. After the Usos got drafted to SmackDown, they joined the panel of Renee Young and Booker T, And Renee was just trying to be like all like, yeah, have you talked to Roman? How's he doing? And Booker T was just like, yeah, the WWE Universe hates your cousin. Like, they boo him out of the building every time he enters the ring. Every time he opens his mouth, he just gets showered in boos. So, and that kind of got carried over to you when you guys were teaming up with him or coming out with him. So how's that make you feel? And kind of put his cousins on the spot. So props to you, Booker T, for doing that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, honesty is key.
Like, it just shows that, like, not everyone is just like putting blinders on and like, nope, Roman's the man. Nope, we love Roman. Everyone loves Roman. So it was nice to get that, like, there is that acknowledgement there that whether that was greenlit and he was, or it was just Booker kind of going off script, like, you know what, no, like, needs to be said, like, whichever it was, like, bravo, is it finally, like, shows me that there, you know, there is that acknowledgement there that not everyone likes Roman.
Yeah. And folks, that brings us to the end of the show here. If you liked it, once again, click the like button. Leave a thumbs up for us. Also, if you could, retweet it on social media. Give Casey a follow at BabyBriggs21.
Yep.
Give me a follow at Conrad Cushman on Twitter. And like I said, guys, make sure you join the Facebook group. There's lots of chats, great discussion going on in there. Great people, lots of differing opinions. Just be prepared to back it up a little bit. And this is Everything Pro Wrestling, folks, and we are out. Thank you for watching. Peace.